And the thing that Logan and I talked about before we started to record, and we've talked about this on the air months and months and months and months and months. And I went back to look at, because I knew it had been a long time since Travis Hunter committed. The first week of March 3rd, 2020, talking about a player that's been committed for almost 2 years, for 21 months. That's a long time, number one. Of course, not even taking into consideration the football. The football is he's the best player in the country. He's targeted to be just a lockdown corner, possible weapon on offense, can do anything, just a generational athlete. Okay. That aside, this again was just not something, again, that we've talked about many times, is this guy's been like the face of the future of Florida State. He just didn't say, I commit to Florida State, send out a tweet like you see a lot of guys, and then you don't hear too much more out of it, and they just kind of keep up the relationship, and they are expected to sign unless we hear something different. No, he was involved in everything and at the forefront and on campus constantly, and talking up the program and talking up the university and recruiting himself, and at spring practice and at events and camps, and he lived it. That's what's the big shock to me, is that he invested all of himself into it and showed that, okay, he really wants this, and he's gonna be the guy that's going to take this program into the future. And then all of a sudden, he's gone. Poof.
Yeah, extremely invested into, like I said, that 2022 class, even beyond that too, and trying to bring some kind of resurgence back to Florida State, helping Mike Norvell. Those two were extremely close. Coach Woodson, Florida State's defensive back coach, that relationship there almost feels ripped apart now. And that's the thing where I'm wondering how those conversations went. I've heard a few things internally that Florida State didn't see this one coming, which kind of just instantly shows a little bit of just not so caring on Hunter's side to Florida State for how much, Norvell built that relationship with him, built a lot of that momentum in that recruiting class around him, built a lot of opportunities for Travis Hunter once he was to arrive in Tallahassee and have signed with the Seminoles. Those relationships that had been built for that long just absolutely gone out the window. And I think Florida State is obviously in a rough spot now. It's Florida State's fans' luck. They will agree with me that it has to be Florida State fans. I mean, you think that they've gone through enough in the last couple of years, but little did they know, right when they thought the turnaround was going to happen, even if you don't grab Marvin Jones Jr., you don't know if Armella is going to be signing yet with Florida State. There's a few flips here and there, but if you're bringing in Travis Hunter, that's a guy that's going to be in your locker room, that's going to help you recruit for at least another 2 years or more. And also on the field, I mean, complete weapon, wide receiver, DB wise, just bringing kind of like that swag back that Jameis Winston had. That's what really haunts Florida State fans, which stinks, as they've gone through a lot. And I know a lot of people throwing shots at Mike Norvell related to this recruitment, to this one right here, what just happened. You can say all you want, but sorry, dog, when there's a couple $1 million on the line,
yeah.
Sorry, dog. I mean, I hate to tell you, and Norvell and the staff wasn't even notified, really, until like the last minute there. We're kind of wondering what's going on. Why hasn't there been a letter of intent sent in? I'm sorry. You can rip Norvell and all you want to do against other players and other recruits that flipped away from Florida State. And Mike Norvell, I think, knows that he's got to make some staff changes there. That kind of was already happening with Chris Marv. Does it happen to Dugan's coming up? Does it keep going? But this one related to Travis Hunter, Florida State. I mean, that was a locked in guy. When millions and millions of dollars, when millions of dollars are offered there, which I'm sure we'll get some more scoop on, and there will be some publicity to some of those numbers. We'll find out on that for sure. You know, I'm not here to blame Norvell on that. That was just, there's one side to this that I think is really at fault, and there was a misunderstanding of something, but I'm not seeing the whole get Norvell out of here, get him out. This was awful. He had no idea this was coming, man. I mean, this was just some shady stuff from behind the scenes that completely shocked the whole Moore Center there at Florida State this morning heading into noon.
Now, I'm going to make this comment, and what would be a suggestion of the way this could have been handled better. Doesn't change anything. Travis Hunter's still going to Jackson State, so forth and so on. And so the result is the same. But and his perspective as an 18-year-old versus my perspective as an old guy is different. But I got to think, with all of that time that it took to set all this up, like you just mentioned, behind the scenes, and if he had that level of respect and care for Florida State and everything that they've done, even if he had to make a decision that he wanted to make or didn't want to make, but said, I can't turn this down, I'm going to do this, to lower the boom on National Signing Day on the announcement versus coming out maybe a day early, flipping, and so that there wasn't this big buildup where people were just expecting he's going to make the obvious announcement, and then it becomes this just shock when he makes the announcement. I don't know. I think it could have been handled better. It's the same result. He's gone. Just my thought on that.
Yeah, no, there had to have been better. There needed to be better communication. But we don't know what happened internally. I'm sure for the next couple of days we'll hear more things, and that will come to light of what really went down. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But usually the Twitterverse will find it, and the Discords will find it eventually. But it's just a crazy kind of day. It stinks. I feel really bad for Florida State fans. And, you got a guy that's coming to the spring game this last season. He had 100 fans around him at the Unconquered statue in front of Doak Campbell Stadium, taking pictures with kids, signing autographs. He was around my family too, there for a little bit before the spring game, talking with them, getting to know them. And that relationship snapped. And, I look at it to where Deion Sanders now. So he was just given an award for Coach of the Year. How long is Deion Sanders going to be staying at Jacksonville State? I don't think very long. I don't think so very long. What does that do for Travis Hunter? Does he intend on just hitting back in the transfer portal? What does that do with the monetary wise? What does that do with that money bag? I don't see Deion Sanders staying there for much longer. If he has another good season next year, some college out there will give him a shot, most certainly.
Mm-hmm.
But what is that? I mean, what is back or go into the transfer portal? I don't see him. I just don't see how that works out there for Travis Hunter. I don't see how much longer.
Yeah, you got to try to envision how it's going to look for him at Jackson State on the field. Okay. Let me take it here first before we get to on the field, because a number of people had commented. And of course, Travis Hunter's statement on Twitter very much spoke to the move that he made toward the future of historically Black colleges and universities. Okay. That in and of itself is a noble gesture, noble decision to make, if that's your decision. If you're getting paid to do that, then I kind of question whether you made a noble decision to try to honor historically Black colleges and universities past and try to move the football level and status into the future to what it's been in the past with Jerry Rice and Walter Payton and all the players that he named, and to bring it to some kind of level where it is playing at a Power 5 level, let's say. And that, and let you could read into what he had to say that he sees himself as some kind of pioneer of bringing historically Black colleges and universities football to some level that we've never seen, and bringing it to the status of big time college football. And if that's his mission, that his purpose, that is his incentive, that's noble, that's the decision he made, and that would be, that could be respected. But if that comes along with a huge paycheck, then that wasn't the decision. It had to have the paycheck with it. So he made the move because of money and NIL. And then this was a nice way to wrap it with this noble gesture of advancing, historically Black colleges football programs. So that seems disingenuous to me. Now on the field, what does his career look like if he stays at Jackson State? If he's at Jackson State, he's not playing against NFL caliber players that are going to test him. I don't know what their schedule looks like out of conference. They may have scheduled a couple ACC, SEC type teams. I don't know. I'll look that up here in a second. But just because he's the best player in the country, and he could step onto an NFL field tomorrow and be given some kind of roster spot and opportunity, but he still has to develop as a player, and he's not going to get that opportunity there anywhere close to what he would get it at Florida State or somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and I think Florida State too, on their end, they had put out a lot of I know for sure, I was told this last Friday that Florida State, not only for Travis Hunter but other big time targets that they were trying to get their last minute, were doing a lot of presentations regarding the Rising Spear, which Florida State, that's going to be their NIL program there that helps student athletes grow their brands, help them social media marketing, all of that stuff in that nature, social media, like all of that, influencing techniques, all that, and there's offers too on, NIL opportunities, local businesses, situations there on how to, enhance your following. Florida State did its job there. And I think they were one of the first to really get these programs initiated since it was announced in Florida, the state of Florida was allowing this. But then it kind of comes to a point where, Florida State has struggled money-wise for a good amount of years. I mean, we all know that. That's why they brought in Mr. Alford, who's now Florida State's athletic director. They brought him in as the CEO of Seminole Boosters to really get that thing kicking again and bring in some money to pay the bills. But Florida State doesn't have, first off, the SEC money. No, they're not. It's hard to compete that way, combat it. But Georgia's doing its thing. We kind of know what Georgia likes to do on the back end of recruiting. We know what's going on there now with the opportunity of kind of being like, hey, NIL, here's your really good money bag here. We can hand off to you. Florida State doesn't have those kind of advantages. Just to say it straight up, they don't have the money kind of capabilities that some of these other schools do. And by far, yes, Travis Hunter would have been, he already is an in-home name here in Tallahassee. I mean, almost the state of Florida, almost across the country, but definitely in Tallahassee, everybody knows Travis Hunter. So he would have already had that kind of brand and that name likeness coming in. I mean, if you wanted to make merch, Florida State fans, that shop would have been blowing up. The site probably would have crashed, but Florida State had a big advantage here for getting Travis Hunter here and doing a lot of things, and the recruitment went very well. Just crazy to think, though, wins a state title, about to play in another high school football game before he ends his career in Collins Hill, Swanee, Georgia. And he's not going to be a Seminole. We would have never even thought about that last night. Even this wasn't in the preparation. Didn't have we had a lot of articles prepped. We had over 15 articles prepped last night, ready for today, but there was nothing prepped in regards to Jackson State, Georgia, yeah, but not Jackson State. This was a shocker, not to us, but just to Florida State staff. If Florida State staff kind of knew what was going on here, we would have heard of it last night. Today they were in shock in the Moore Center.